Welcome back to The Casual Ethnographer. Today I'm walking through Penrose State Park. Even though I'm a little bit fatigued still, I had a busy weekend and a busy week ahead. I wanted to show you a little bit of trails today, talk about Shelf Indulgences, and let you in on some party prep that I have going for my daughter's birthday party this weekend. I will show you everything next week, but today we'll give you a little bit of a glimpse. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. My weekend was full. Saturday was not only my husband's birthday, which we celebrated quietly at home in the afternoon and evening, but it was also graduation day for my baby sister. She had her commencement ceremony at Tacoma Community College, where she received her 2-year degree in psychology. She's headed off to university, bigger and better things. She will continue to pursue her education in psychology. So very proud of her. Way to go, sissy. When I got home, or on the way home, I should say, we stopped off, met up at the grocery store, picked up some stuff for dinner. We had a pretty quiet afternoon. And then in the evening, as we still had cake from our daughter's birthday 4 days prior, I didn't make him his own cake, and he decided he wanted ice cream. So on the way to go get ice cream in Gig Harbor, we stopped off at the dollar store, pick up some things for our daughter's birthday party, and also we stopped off at Michael's again to get some things for the birthday party. That party is this coming weekend, so I will do a whole episode next week letting you know how the party prep went, the setup. I won't film anything with my daughter and her friends, but just let you know what goes into preparing for a party. I get a little crazy with it. I hate to admit it, but so then the next day was Father's Day, and my husband just wanted kind of a chill day. He, as a birthday gift from his best friend, had tickets to some soccer game. I don't follow soccer, so I don't know, but apparently it's a big deal, and it was an international game. So he left the house about 4 o'clock, and we had just a quiet afternoon, my daughters and I. So let's talk about my friend Bertha for a little bit, my sourdough starter. I have been feeding her the last few weeks on Mondays. I'll take her out of the fridge, get her fed after pulling some discard out, and I'll do some baking. And I decided that I want to stretch those feedings to, instead of every 7 days, to every 10 days. I just don't need that many baked goods around the house. And with summer here, I don't want to be doing that much baking. I don't want to turn my oven on at all if I can help it. So today's Shelf Indulgences will not be in combination with feeding Bertha. It will be a scenic walk around Penrose State Park. And then on Thursday, I will feed her and probably make a short out of that. So stay tuned to my channel for that information. In the meantime, let's get into Shelf Indulgences. This week in Shelf Indulgences, we're looking at myths 13 through 18 from the Norse myths by Kevin Crossley Holland. And there's no shortage of sex, shame, trickery, and goats. So let's get into it. Myth 13, the necklace of the Brisings. Freya sees a beautiful necklace made by 4 dwarfs. To get it, she agrees to sleep with each of them one night per dwarf. Loki finds out and tells Odin, who shames her for trading sex for jewelry, but then steals the necklace away and agrees to return it only if she sows war among men. This one was strange. There's clearly a commentary on how women's sexual agency is treated, but also how power dynamics are manipulated to justify endless conflict. It's messy. Myth 14, the Lay of Thrym. Thor's hammer is stolen by a giant who demands Freya as his bride. Instead, Thor cross-dresses with Loki as his handmaiden, and they go through with the wedding. Once the hammer is presented, Thor reveals himself and slaughters everyone at the feast. Honestly, this one was kind of fun. It's one of the few myths with camp energy, but it still ends with brutal violence, as they do. Myth 15, the Lay of, and I'm going to butcher this, Vafthrudner? Oh my goodness. Odin disguises himself and challenges a wise giant to a battle of knowledge. He wins, mostly by rattling off mythological trivia. Not especially entertaining, but useful if you're keeping score of Norse cosmology. Myth 16, Thor's journey to Utgard. Thor and Loki travel to a land of giants where nothing is as it seems. Thor kills his own goats for a poor family to eat, then gets angry when one goat comes back lame and takes the children as servants. At the giants' hall, every challenge is an illusion, and they leave humiliated. Thor comes across as brutish and impulsive, while the giants are clever and kind. Until the end, when everyone's true identities are revealed. It was a long myth, but surprisingly layered. Myth 17, the Lay of Hymir. The gods need a cauldron. Thor and Tyr go to Tyr's father, the giant Hymir, to get one. Thor acts like a jerk, Tyr tricks his own father, and they leave with the cauldron. By the way, the cauldron was to make alcohol. Beer in particular. This one wasn't a favorite. The gods often behave badly, but this one felt especially mean-spirited. Myth 18, Heimdall's Poem. Freya visits a giantess under false pretenses to get information and secure an inheritance for her lover Ottar. The giantess sees through it and refuses. It's another story where power is used manipulatively, and Freya's personal motivations are blurred with divine entitlement. These gods don't just walk around behaving badly. They scheme, seduce, and steal to get what they want. These 6 myths gave us a lot to think about: the roots of war, the farce of power, and the deeply flawed nature of the gods. Which one stood out to you most? Reading these myths, I couldn't help but notice how chaotic and selfish the gods are. And it made me think, maybe we tell stories like these not because we expect perfection from our heroes, but because we're trying to make sense of all the ways people disappoint each other and still move forward. We'll continue with myths 19 through 27 next week. Until then, happy reading. Just to give you kind of a heads up as to what the reading schedule is, as I have it planned. So by the 23rd of June, we will be done with myth 27. And then by the following week, June 30th, we will be into the notes section. Now, in my book, the notes section is rather long. So I plan to be through page 186, finishing up note number 3, and then moving ahead a week, and that would be July 7th. Then I plan to get through page 227, and then the following week, July 14th, I plan to be done with the book. So, what are we going to read next? So, I was looking at my shelf, and for the next leg of our Shelf Indulgences journey, I'm picking up a book that's been sitting on my shelf for a while, one that I bought because I kept hearing how impactful it was. It's called The Gift of Fear by Gavin de Becker. I'll admit, I don't know much about it beyond the fact that it's often recommended as one of those life changing reads, especially when it comes to intuition, safety, and learning to trust ourselves more deeply. I thought it might be an interesting shift, something a little more personal, grounded in the everyday, but also culturally relevant. If you'd like to read along, I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'll give a heads up each week on where I'm at in the book, but there's no pressure. This isn't that kind of a book club. But the plan is to do my first check in on The Gift of Fear here on Shelf Indulgences on Monday, July 21st. I hope you'll join me. If you have been watching past episodes, then you know that my older daughter just turned 10 last week. And because of the timing of her birthday in June, we usually end up having to either have her party early or a little bit late. And this year it's a little bit late. So her party will be this Saturday. It's her very first slumber party. She's super excited and she has chosen a Paris theme. She's invited three of her friends, and we're going to have berets for the girls to wear, and I will make some cupcakes, and they'll watch movies and have popcorn and all the things you would expect out of a slumber party. When it came to picking her main food item, she asked for enchiladas. I happen to make a pretty decent enchilada, if I do say so myself. But my husband and I chuckled. We're like, that's not French cuisine. So we showed her what French cuisine looked like, and she's like, I don't think my friends are going to eat any of that. So we will be serving pizza. I know, not French, but we know the girls will eat it. So next week on Monday, I will show you all what went into me planning this party, the things that I picked up, where I bought them from. I didn't keep exact track of the prices of everything, um, but I do try to bargain shop. And at the same time, I want my daughter to feel special, and I want her friends, her guests, to feel special. So hopefully, it'll be a fun party. Um, think kindly in my direction the night of Saturday because I'm sure I will not be getting any sleep. But that's what Sunday's for, right? Good old nap time. Thank you for stopping by this week. I hope you enjoyed today's little walk and checking in on Shelf Indulgences. I hope to see you back later this week when I feed Bertha. And until next week, stay well. I appreciate your presence. See you next time.